The mic is listening.
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 Who's in charge of this operation?
I have no idea. Chuck is actually in charge.
Okay.
Chuck's in charge? So it's Charles in charge. Charles in charge
Okay, how
of
long
our
were those
days
lyrics?
and our nights.
In charge of our days and our nights. There's something fundamentally wrong with that. Those lyrics. All good in the hood. Awesome.
All
oh
good in the
no.
hood.
Oh no. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to The Mic is Listening. My name is Syya, and today we have a very special episode. We are in the Kaylee Bay Hutchinson Convention Center in downtown Dallas for the Fan Expo. Woohoo!
Whoop, whoop. In the house.
Whoop, whoop.
Okay, audience, I know I told you guys there's places to sit, but you are allowed to applause. And you're also allowed to heckle.
Yes,
at any point in
please
time.
do. You have full permission.
So, okay, today I am joined by one of my closest friends, all podcasters pretty much, and so I'm so excited to welcome Jonathan and Jonas. You guys are with the Noonish podcast.
Noonish Live.
Noonish Live.
It's on my
And then
shirt. So, yeah. YouTube.
YouTube.
Yes, YouTube.
The YouTube. And we also have Brad Bethune, who has a really cool podcast on tech and cards.
Tech and cards, Brad
As opposed
Bethune,
to ours, which
a.k.a.
is not
your
really
Texas card dude.
And I recruited Madison to join me because Madison and I are collaborating together on an esports podcast network, Map Esports, and she is the marketing director. And I just said, look, I need some balance. There's too much testosterone on the panel, so thank you for joining, Madison.
Of course, I got you.
Thanks to Jonas
I'm here for
here.
you.
He's packing
All
out
right.
the testosterone.
You know what? You know what worried me about this whole event was not so much whether we would have content. It was more of the can I control you guys?
Nope.
Because it's almost like a running joke when you start what do you get when you get 3 podcast shows onto one panel, right?
Yeah.
What?
A lot of noise.
I have no idea, but the next room is having a party right now, and I'm like, hey guys, come on over here. We're here. All right, so let's talk about this because Fan Expo. I'm a huge fan of Fan Expo, and truth be told, everyone, after this, I am promptly running out because I did pay to take pictures with Brendan Fraser and Sean Astin. So, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go.
Who?
Encino Man.
Who is that?
Oh, that's cold.
Just kidding. JK, I'm just
Tackle him.
Oh.
He did only recently watch Top Gun for the first time.
No, I still haven't watched Top
He
Gun.
still hasn't watched the original Top Gun. Okay, so
Out.
look.
Out.
All right, look, Smoothie Man, you almost didn't even make it to the freaking start time.
And
So,
we got here, you know.
by the way, Shauna. By the way, shout out Shauna and Chuck. Love you guys to death. She called you Smoothie Steve.
Smoothie Steve.
She's like, Smoothie Steve is running late, huh?
Oh man, you know it's better to have something in your gut than nothing. You
That
know,
is-
it's been a long day, so.
That's true. So the kids were playing today, huh? Baseball?
No baseball. Got to win, but you know, enough about that. It's our
Why?
time. It's our time to shine.
Well, it's your time to shine too, right? I just want to I do want to throw out because I do love the fact that when I joke around with Jonas about your professional baseball playing days, I remember thinking, Jonas, I didn't think you had anything to do with sports. So talk to me about Noonish, because where does our friend Jonas fit into this play here?
He's
because
the tech side of the show. So Noonish Sports and Tech. Jonas has some soccer and some F1 racing, knowledge that he brings to the show as far as the sports is
I
concerned.
coached 6-year-old
But
soccer league once.
I am happy to say that he's been watching a little more football and basketball since
Yeah,
we started.
I've been dragged into that.
Yeah.
I've been drugged into
He
it.
picked the Jackson State women to win the NCAA men's championship one year, so that didn't work out too well.
They came closer to than my second pick, though.
Okay, but that being said, though, I do love giving little shouts because you know what? If you make it to the big leagues, I want to give accolades to it because it takes a lot of work, focus, and determination. So I'm such a good friend of yours. I forgot what MLB team you played for. So who did you play
So
for?
I was drafted by the Cubs and then went through the Padres organization and then played for a bunch of minor league teams nobody's heard of up in Schaumburg, Illinois, and Rockford, Illinois, and Sauget, Illinois, small teams, Gateway Grizzlies, just different teams like nobody's hurt. It's a grind though. It's a serious grind up there. And you just getting to the league is about skill and luck, a little blend of both. But I had the skill. Just an unlucky guy.
I just have to interject for a minute. I'm from Schaumburg.
Oh, nice. Nice. Flyers, how you doing?
I do appreciate the Flyers, and I did like them. So I just wanted to say they're a great team.
Yep.
But glad that you played for the Flyers.
Yep.
Because I was like, wow.
Up in lived in Hoffman Estates for a little bit, so got to know the area very well.
Okay, and so there's a third member on Noonish. So Mark Clayton's not here. Who did he play for?
So Mark Clayton he's like an OU legend in wide receiver in football. And he played for the Baltimore Ravens and the St. Louis Rams before they moved to LA. So,
nice.
Yep. So we got a nice little blend of sports and tech. And honestly, Mark is like one of the most brilliant people I've ever met as far as technology is concerned. So he's got his own headphone company, and he talks on blockchain and crypto panels all the time. So he's got some, what they say about NFL guys, it doesn't really apply to him, So.
He's a smart dude.
That's what I loved about you guys is the fact that you have that combination of sports and tech, and then there's Jonas, right?
Yep.
So that's what really fascinates me, how this all works. All right, so Brad, you and I met back in our tech sales days, right?
Let's not go about how far back, okay?
But you know what? Now I just remembered because you're like, hey, I'm glad we're friends. I'm like, of course, why wouldn't we be? And he goes, well, I'm kind of surprised we're friends. And I'm like, well, if I really didn't like you, I'd remember it. Well, I just had the memory right now. It popped up. I couldn't stand you. You were so mean to me back then.
I was a mean little person.
No, I'm not kidding. I just realized it. You were so mean because you're like, you're selling what technology? What do you have to prove? What do you know? And I'm like, the F is that, dude? I got training for 2 hours on how to position this thing.
Exactly. You and me both. I just got an extra half hour afterwards. So.
No. But seriously though, so I didn't realize now that I'm out, I left the corporate world and as a podcaster 100% of my time, I didn't realize you were into collecting cards and stuff, man. Let's talk about this, Goose.
So I actually brought some. I brought a Fernando Tatis Jr. rookie card. 150th foil stamp. There's only 3,000 of those made. I brought a Shohei Ohtani holiday rookie card.
Got some cheers for Tony Holiday.
Just one of those, not a lot printed. And then one of my favorites, Shohei Ohtani rookie card high. So this card's got an interesting history. They actually made the set, the first series, and of course they made the second series, which they call the high series, and then at the very, very end, Ohtani got really hot.
Yep. And
they didn't have a card for him in the set. So they actually created this card specifically for Shohei Ohtani. And it's not really hard to get, but it's really hard to get in this condition because of the printing, and the card is really, really soft. It's harkens back to the old 1950s sets. So it's hard to come in a good condition. So I was hoping to get a 10. I only got a 9.5, but, hey, pretty close. I do sports cards. I've got a technology background. You and I worked at HP together. I've been in technology for about, I'm going to say it, 17 years. I've been in the IT industry.
Wait, okay, you say that like a badge of pride because I've been in it for 20 plus years, so I didn't realize you were that much younger than me, and now I'm not loving life.
I started late in life, but and I absolutely love sports cards. So I wanted to take two of my passions, which is sports cards and then technology, specifically around security, making sure people's data are secure, and just helping people and trying to make their lives simpler through technology. That why not take two of my passions and bring them together and create a podcast and a YouTube show where I just try to help people, and that's just helping people. That's all.
So Brad, I got a text from my former boss asking me to get a bunch of Apple gift cards. You think that's legit?
That's legit.
Okay.
That's 100% legit.
Oh my gosh. Okay, to explain everyone. So, maybe I haven't seen that scam before. So, mind you, my background, I started in cybersecurity and then switched over to the infrastructure side of things. And he shows me this text message of, hey, Dan, it's the CEO. Could you get me some Apple cards?
I was like, can we bleep the names just to protect the guilty?
Billy texted. Well, what I thought was funny was, I'm like, oh, that's nice of the CEO wanting some, Apple cards. And he looked at me and goes, no, Syya, this is a scam artist. And I was like, oh, so did you get the Apple cards?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got about $10,000 worth of Apple cards.
There you go.
Billy Two Fingers is holding my wife hostage until I pay it.
I wonder if he's related to that African prince that keeps asking me to sign off on $32 million.
There you go. Same guy.
Possibly.
Guy.
Same guy.
Gotcha.
Same guy.
That makes sense.
Same guy.
Makes sense.
Don't click the link. Just saying, don't click the link.
Okay, so let me ask you one thing, because as I've been walking through here, first off, I love Fan Expo. I love the
Yes.
whole vibe and energy
Yes.
of all this. I do
Yes.
not love the confusion of talking to you four. Holy smokes. It took us 2 hours
To find the food court.
to
Find
find
the food court. Oh my gosh.
And okay, guys, who was it that was responsible for finding the food court? Yes. And who was going to a massive diabetic shock in pursuit of said food courts, right? And who was it that said, hey, find the food court first before Brad panics and dies and lays on the ground? Don't make him leave this other line he was already in. And all of a sudden someone sends a text and goes, okay, I found the food court. He hadn't found the food court. He had heard he found the food
I had
court.
approximately found the food court.
The man left a line that he was already about to purchase food for.
We'd have found it.
Did you
eventually.
die?
We
And then
no, we didn't. We tried though. We tried.
So okay, the rule
Why
of
did you die?
so the rule of thumb is, guys, if you're going to go to these types of events, either A, understand your communication style with one another,
Yes.
or B, do not ever separate, because us two were we have to go to the bathroom, and then all hell breaks loose. And then you got Smoothie Steve over here going, hey man, it's 3:15. I'm 15 minutes away. I'm like, oh crap, these guys couldn't find them, but you found it.
Clearly, the
You know,
problem
it's
was
all
we were
good.
left unsupervised.
It's all good. I listen. Just listening and observation. I parked and came right on in here. I'm
No.
glad I missed all that.
Oh, you would have not been happy.
Yeah, I'm glad I missed all that.
Okay, so knowing that we had all this drama early walking in, let's talk about tech, because we all have this ideas and we're all innovation. I know you guys are all about innovation. And by the way, if anyone wants to know anything about the future of Dallas and the IoT world, these guys are the ones they're getting consulted with. So you can yell at them if we don't implement it well. But let me talk to you guys. What would you do to improve? What would you do to improve this experience here, you think? Because this is going to be our next generation of experiences, right? So what would you guys do technology-wise?
I think I'm sure a ton of these people have played Pokemon Go walking around here, some type of wayfinding that'll kind of point you to where you need to go.
So augmented reality.
Just some AR, some augmented reality, something on a mobile phone. Everybody's got their phones out anyway, But
Location-based services.
yeah, and even put some games, gamify the whole experience, right? This thing is fun,
Okay, so what would you think?
Geofencing.
Okay, what is geofencing?
So geofencing originally started out as making sure that your dog didn't go outside of a particular area that you wanted. So that's what really it was, to take dogs and put them in an area like a great big huge farm and set points, and they couldn't make like a square. You couldn't go past that particular area. So the other theory behind that is taking it inside and being able to track a person inside of a room or track a person into various locations, and then find my phone, connect the two.
Am I the dog in this scenario?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jonas, I'm not going to lie to you. I was freaking out. Where the hell is he? He's like, I don't know. They said food court is over here. And then you ended up not
over there.
not where you
That's
were
not
supposed
as
to
bad as when we actually got here. I'm walking to come up to the expo, or to the Cape Aisley Hudson, and all of a sudden I see these two walk this way. I walk this way, and I hear Sya's voice, and I'm like, is that Syya? And I turn around, and it's you unexpectedly. So we geofenced ourselves just accidentally.
There you go. I don't know if that or you're a stalker, or we're stalkers. We could be vice versa.
You were stalking me. That's what it was, because I'm so cool.
Hey, we can go back to walkie-talkies, just bring some walkie-talkies in the
Yes.
building.
There you
what
go.
I
I mean?
appreciate that.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
a good
It's a
idea.
different technology.
Okay.
That is true.
What happened to push to talk? We used to have push to talk on something.
That chirp,
That was what?
Nextel.
That was
Nextel,
Nextel.
yeah.
Nextel.
Yeah.
Who would have bought out Nextel?
Sprint.
I don't know, that
Oh, was it
3-6 Mafia
Sprint?
song
Oh.
probably.
And then Sprint
There you go.
is T-Mobile now, right?
Word.
Yeah.
Word.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Madison. So, what was your experience? What do you think you would do to improve this? You're the event person.
You know, honestly, one of the things, I kind of agree with what Jonathan was saying with the AR, just because the fact that that is probably, and especially when it comes to events too, it's a great way to kind of show people what's going on. Like, and you're like, oh, hey, here's the food court, here's this. And then immediately you know, because some people don't read very much. You know, some people look at something and they're like, they don't exactly, they might read it briefly and then just kind of push it aside. And
It's the way I read Syya's text messages.
yeah, exactly.
Or lack thereof, all of you.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes people legitimately just kind of, they're like, oh, there's a sign, and they'll just walk right on past it.
Yep.
So, and it happens more than you think, because, and then somebody's like, where's the sign? You're like, it's right behind you. And I used to work in an airport, and that happened all the time, where people were like, where's the departures? Where can I find, the arrivals? There's a sign that is actually right behind you, but just
here's
look
your
up.
sign.
Just look up.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where I think that it would be so much easier to have AR just to be like, okay, you want to go to, this place where it shows you where these events are? Cool. Let's pull up this app and it'll show you where
Follow
to go.
this massive arrow.
Follow the arrow. Exactly.
That is actually something we've been talking about with a large American airport.
Whoa. Sorry.
Wait a minute. We've all got connections with that said
My
large
bad.
American airport. You better be doing something because you know the innovation team over there.
I used to work at O'Hare. Sorry. Let me just. Sorry.
Oh, what? Just kidding.
Well, there's way too close to the mic. There's actually something where they're coming up with customer experience to where, you activate your phone. We were talking about this earlier about activating to a Wi-Fi or hooking up to a Wi-Fi. And as you walked by a specific place, me as a vendor, I could push out coupons.
Yeah.
Or push out some type of offer or anything like that. So there is actual in beta testing of this actually happening. And then if you take that one step further, so say you wanted to get, I don't know why you would want to get, but Brendan Fraser's phone or app or whatever, or
example,
picture or
Sean Astin.
whatever, Frodo.
Whatever.
I mean, just in case you wanted to do that, so you're sitting here listening to us, what if they could actually send you a text or a particular locator so that you knew how long the line was, you knew how far away you were, so that it could say, hey, Syya, you might want to start walking now because of traffic. You could actually be there in line and be on time and be ready to go. And as you were actually walking, if I was a vendor and I had Fraser or Ashton stuff to sell, as you walk by, you would get a ping that, hey, I have this type of item here. I have this type of item here. The reason why I know is because we're at the Dallas Card Show. Plug for Kyle. At the Dallas Card Show, and they're actually in beta testing at that right now, where I put all of my cards out there, and if you were to say, hey, I wanted this Fernando Tatis card, that you would say, okay, I'm on here, I want to look at all the Fernando Tatis Jr. cards, hit a button, and in every single table or location that has Tatis cards, they would be there. So take that into this type of experience where you'd be able to maximize your time at the show as opposed to
Standing in
waiting
line.
in line, waiting for a particular, just any type of waiting whatsoever, so that you're constantly moving and getting maximum experience time.
Because I hate lines.
What's
I hate
the
lines, too.
underpinning technology? Are you saying Wi-Fi? Because we know Wi-Fi, once you're getting into that convention center, starts to just drop significantly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
That's-
are we talking?
that's bigger. You'd have to have more
bandwidth has to-
access points. You'd have to make sure that the string. Not only that, you'd also have to scramble the signal because you've got all the bad actors out there that would definitely use the pods to try to snag everything, all your data, all the trackers, everything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not simple by any means. It's very complicated. If you actually know wireless, you know that technology moves slower than the bad actors, so then it becomes extremely difficult. So, yeah, I just realized I just nerded out. So
It's all good, man.
I went down that rabbit
It's all good.
hole. I'm sitting here and I'm going, wow.
Gotta know.
But did you just bore yourself?
I did.
Got to nerd out sometimes. Nothing wrong with that.
No, but I do like that idea. I do think there's a lot of great technology opportunity. I think the question is adaption, right? Because the common person doesn't have the level of background or technology that we do, because all of us would embrace it, right? But I'd imagine like a common family or someone that's just resting their heads, right? Like I convinced a whole ton of people just to come here and sit on their hiney, because why not? Why sit on the ground? So hey, shout out to everyone that just joined us for no reason other than to sit down.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you for being gracious enough to trust some weirdo to say, come here and sit down. The seats are all open, my friend. So
Please apologize for, or accept my apologies for nerding out. I apologize for that ahead of time.
Hey, you gave max effort right there, so there's no reason to apologize when you're giving max effort. So.
I try.
Now, if it was a half-ass nerd out, then, we got to say
I
something.
went full-blown nerd. I went full nerd.
I love it. Right
okay,
on.
so I would like to not nerd out, but I do have a question, because if I was interested in starting to collect cards, and you had mentioned some of those players right there, what are the first things I should be looking at? Because that looks cool and all, but like, does it require a lot to start collecting to get into that area?
No, actually, one of the coolest things about it is you just find a player that you like, local team or anything, and cards are now becoming available anywhere. So you just go out, buy a box of cards, open it up. If you like it, great. If you don't, there's several different avenues to either trade or to sell. Stick your toe in. There's a lot of just pop culture. One of my favorites is Battlestar Galactica. I'm sure when I go out there, they'll have plenty of Battlestar Galactica cards out there for me to collect. There's a whole lot of different genres to collect and different things to collect. And it's just find something that you truly loved, and it's either back in your childhood or today or anything, and just dip your toe in. Just dip your toe. And don't drop a
And
lot
I got to
of money.
say, Shohei Ohtani is like the greatest player to ever play the game of baseball.
Babe Ruth,
right?
Josh? Babe Ruth?
Babe Ruth threw 88 miles an hour, right? So Shohei hit a ball 105 miles an hour and threw a ball 101 miles an hour in the same game.
Yes.
So Shohei is incredible, insane when it comes to the skills on the ball field.
Speaking of geeking out.
Yeah, I can talk about
Let's
sports.
let's go down this
So
road.
I want to ask you, have you dipped your toe in NFTs? Because it's very similar to trading cards, and it's a
NFT.
non-fungible tokens.
So actually, my very first episode on Tech and Cards was actually about NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about how to make them. We talked about what they are, and we talked about fundamental uses of them. I do not collect NFTs. I'm in the process of getting my business card turned into an NFT.
Gotcha.
So that you can actually have some type of movable type of voice type, some type of just an audio version, Ethereum version type of my foot place. But yeah, I'm dipping slow. I'm not a sports NFT quite yet. I don't think the technology yet has caught up with where it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
So let's think about this. Think about your favorite movie. Okay, you go to stand in line for Black Adam. Let's just use Black Adam coming up. You go stand in line for Black Adam, and your seat, let's say whatever movie theater, your seat has a particular seat number and seat row. So you go see Black Adam. In the middle, into the big action scene. Boom, it happens. As you leave the theater, you get an NFT. You get an actual moment in time with your seat number, your row number, and a part of the picture to remind you of that moment. So I think that's
cool.
Is going there. And then
They started doing that in the Super Bowl this year, I believe.
Yeah, and then take that one step further where Brady took it. And what if, say, The Rock selectively picked somebody in the United States of America to say, hey, this NFT on this day, on this particular seat, on this particular row, you get to meet The Rock.
Yep.
That's right.
See,
That's where I think that it's going.
Yeah, I think that's the value when we discuss this, and I don't want to go too deep in it because that's kind of, but obviously we're not the only ones thinking about it if you just mentioned it, right? So I think there's a lot of value in having an experience tied to the
Yes.
NFT outside
Yes.
of the the blockchain or the cryptocurrency, whatever it is, right? So the whole real estate play with NFTs is pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, people, putting their homes in NFTs, and there's another additional value to just the real estate. So I don't want to get too deep into it.
Oh, we could go all deep into it.
I think it's pretty cool.
We could.
Look, people, I'm comfortable, and I have a place to sit here at Fan Expo. I am very comfortable right now. If you want, I'll just lean back here and go to sleep. No, I'm kidding. No, I think non-fungible tokens, I think, is a very interesting concept. I do think there's a time and place for it. I think the future generations are embracing it far more faster than us old fuddy-duddies. So here, let's talk about another area. Let's shift gears just a little bit, just because I'm selfishly producing an esports podcast network. What are you guys' thoughts on the future of esports? Okay, as a traditional player, Jonathan?
I love it, right? Because I played games growing up as well. So I think it's a very exciting opportunity for kids, right, that might not have athletic ability. They could be the best in the world at whatever game. And there's so many other opportunities in esports from what we're doing, right? I forget the name, like the broadcast side, right? Mm-hmm. And then, there's just so many different levels in esports that, owning a team, being a GM of a team, being a player.
Programming, marketing,
exactly,
event planning.
Branding,
there's a whole, it's literally its own micro industry.
Yep.
Now, here's where a question I have, and for anyone that's in the audience, if you want to agree or disagree, you can clap or say boo, okay? Which is
boo.
This. Brad.
You're not in the audience.
Yeah, you're not. You're on the panel. Did you know that?
Oh, okay.
Hey, but that being said, okay. I think that there's an opportunity for the traditional team owners, like the Jerry Joneses, because we're in Dallas. I'll pick on Jerry. Jerry, I need sponsorship. Anyway, I think if these traditional facilities, again, the stadium is ginormous and it's gorgeous and it's beautiful, but I do think they need multiple paths of entertainment. So while there is a traditional football game going, I think there should be an esports tournament of some sort simultaneously, because how many times have dads and moms drugged their kids to a traditional football game and everyone's like this? Or even better, they're just like
on the phone the whole time.
And you're like, hey, honey, I just spent $200 for this ticket. Could you look at the field once, please? Mm-hmm. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So do you think that's going to happen, or am I just pie in the sky viewpoint there?
I think it's a great possibility.
I think we have some crowd support for this. Jerry.
Yeah, I think it's a great possibility. I know they're already, Jerry Jones, they own Complexity. I think they purchased Complexity. And
I think I heard they just sold off Complexity.
Did they?
Oh. Rumor has it.
Oh, wow. Can't blame them. I think the market's like $500 million now, or something like that.
Yeah, I think the pandemic didn't help things, right? When esports could have potentially really blown up, the pandemic just said.
I'm talking participants, not money. I'm talking about how many people are engaging in esports.
Oh yeah, no, there's more participants remotely, but I think the idea conceptually was to gather folks, right, locally to compete within tournaments. Right now, we've had to shift because of the pandemic to do a lot of remote type playing, which I think is cool, because I like the mix of both, where you have your local team playing in one area, right, or a bunch of teams, and then you're literally competing globally.
Yeah.
I think there's some value to that, but
we're doing a project with Exposure. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Shout out Danny.
Danny Martin.
Love you,
yeah.
man.
So come to find out, Dallas has the greatest ping rate in the world. And there are teams that come to Dallas from China, FaZe Clan, all these very popular gaming organizations come to Dallas for their boot camps to get ready to go play in these $20 million tournaments. And it's mind-blowing,
Yeah.
Just understanding, just because it's kind of like you have an advantage because you're, playing in Dallas with this great ping rate versus, wherever they are type deal, just all the little different pieces and parts of it coming together like that just blows my mind. I don't think about that stuff, but they do, because it matters. And it's $20 million on the line, so.
Yeah. Just realistically, you mentioned the remote versus in a group. Mm-hmm. And, kids these days, in my obviously
humble opinion.
No, it really because I've been trying to pay attention and do some sort of field research, I guess you'd call it, on that. And so it seems like kids these days want to have the connectivity that they've grown up with, because like my kids literally grew up with a phone.
Mm-hmm.
They've never known a world that did not have almost 100% connectivity all the time. But they also want to be around their friends. So having that, a local group that can get together in some place that they feel comfortable and feel like they've got access to things, access to their friends, and access to pizza, and also be able to compete against teams from China or Japan or Ukraine or whatever it ends up being. That's the experience that they want. They want that, not only a local experience with their friends, with their people that they know, but also a global experience. And let's face it, that's where the world is going, whether we like it as old people or not.
Says yourself.
Well, let's take
Speak
it.
for yourself.
Oh, sorry about you.
Let's take it a step further. I mean, the Dallas has got the World Cup coming up.
Yep.
So let's take the World Cup experience and esports or gamify it.
Yep.
And then NFT it. And then you've got teams across the U.S. God, I love Madden. Think about Madden. Think about the ability to take Madden into the esports world, tie it with the World Cup coming up in Dallas. Oh, man.
I love
You've got FIFA, man.
I love FIFA. Yeah.
FIFA. I mean, it'd
So-
be just awesome.
And then take it a step further, like, how do y'all feel about the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
And what's going on there, and
Yeah.
jumping into the Oculus, because there's experiences in the Oculus that are just insane right now,
See?
right?
That is
Yeah.
true.
Mm-hmm.
I may be
Yeah.
the only person in the room that's old enough to remember that we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
You mean the
Six
Bionic
million-
Man?
Yeah, the Bionic Man.
Come on
Six
now.
Bionic Man.
Yeah.
No, $6 million.
We have
Bionic
the
woman.
technology. We have the technology today to put a camera in every helmet on a football field
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
and put you in that view in an Oculus or even just a desktop. I mean that's a real thing that we could do today.
Okay, so okay, I don't know enough about this metaverse. I get it conceptually. All I can think of for me, selfishly, as a podcast producer, I'm like, how many shows could we have like a virtual theater and just like run our stuff up on there
Set up a 360 camera.
Yeah.
and just freaking rock that stuff,
Get after
right?
it.
Like
Yeah.
it's like another outlet. Like if you're gonna do this kind of recording anyway, why not leverage that technology? Why not leverage it in another medium? So,
Exactly.
okay, round of applause if you guys. Would you guys even listen? If you guys were in the metaverse and like strolling around, would you even stop by a podcast theater or an esports gaming? All right.
You're on
Hey.
something.
We're sorry we woke her up.
Well,
Oh, we woke up your kid. I'm so sorry.
Nah, it's
I mean, one of the cool things about, like, especially the podcast network that Syya helps us produce at Map Esports Network, we actually do have a metaverse-themed show, and it is run by a couple of two brilliant children, and it's called Esports, Metaverse, and Beyond.
that is awesome.
Yes.
And so pretty much it has everything from esports to the metaverse and, of course, beyond. But it's run by these two kids named Chase and Sage, and they are the sweetest little kids from North Carolina.
They're like 11 and 12 years old.
11 and 12 years old, hosting their own podcast.
Nice.
That's
So
off, man.
just to
That's
let
off.
anyone know, kids, you can host your own podcast shows if you want.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've got kids hosting toy unboxing shows.
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh.
there's kids hosting podcast shows all the time.
I think the highest paid YouTube
Yep.
is a kid.
Yeah, is the
Kids.
kid opening toys,
Yeah,
right?
opening
Ryan's
toys.
toys or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
So, like, I have another question to ask, and I will speak English a little bit more clearly in 2 seconds when my brain catches up with my head here. Okay, so round of applause, guys, and you guys can applause if you want, or give me that nice knowing look. If we have more gaming centers available, is it something where should it be a community-centered driven thing where it's like a public-private sector thing, or should it be a private enterprise? And the reason why I ask this is I think esports is great. I think gaming and the whole concept of that is great, but I feel like certain communities will not have access to it just by virtue of the community that it's in. So
It would be great if it was community-based because you can capture so much creativity. Like, and these kids, just like you said, giving them access to the tools they need is everything. Especially here in Dallas, like we have, DISD is like 86% like underprivileged or whatever, but
crazy.
Versus the state at like 65% in a district, but at the same time, gifted and talented, we're like at 15% versus 6% across the state. So we have so many gifted kids that if they only had access to the tools, we don't know what could come from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think depending on where you are, just like everything else, some spaces don't need that access because they can go buy it, but other areas, give them a bit of a crutch, I guess, or give them a little help, a little assistance, and give them something to, somewhere to go and be creative.
I think you need to make the libraries or the unused spaces in areas, make those esports stadiums.
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny. You should mention that, Brad. And
Why
you know
not? Why
nothing
not?
about this.
Why not?
Madison, maybe you have a response to that.
So the Grapevine Public Library actually last year, they had technically it was a soft opening because they had previously opened before, but we went to their soft opening about their esports academy, and so they actually received was it a grant or for their program. And so basically what it is, they have a ton of gaming stations. They also have a 3D printing machine, which is really cool. So you can actually go to their center and print stuff if you would like to. And that is open to the public, which is kind of interesting. And so too, this is for Grapevine residents. I believe it's for Grapevine, right?
So it's like an innovation hub almost.
Yeah, it is. And
really
so
is.
it is a very cool, interesting thing that I think a lot of the libraries should be getting into because they were awarded a very sizable grant. And so Grapevine Public Library has always been encouraging students, children to come over there if you're wanting to learn more about VR. They actually just had a VR event, I think it was yesterday, and so they encourage you to come over, play Roblox. If you want to learn more about specific games, you can go over there and learn more about specific games, Minecraft, those types of things. And I think that's definitely something that is needed more within these specific communities, especially like libraries.
And it's free. I think that's a key part. It's free.
And it's free. So literally, just go on in there, drop off. I mean, if you're a parent, you just want to...
Don't drop off your kids. It's not the 80s.
Don't drop off your kids. Don't drop off your
not
kids.
1982.
No. But if you want to go in and, walk around in the library, kind of check it out, it's a great way to kind of let, your kids kind of explore and test out games. And
is there like a soundproof area? Because I'm sure that esports is not.
What's kind of cool about it too is they do have a streaming area too, so you can actually go in there for if you want to do shoutcasters.
Nice, that's
so
what I was looking for.
If you want to be a shoutcaster,
yeah.
so you can actually go in there and broadcasting and stuff like that too.
That's awesome.
So they encourage people to come in, use those spaces, and
very cool.
Yeah,
cool stuff.
Are like 8, 11 the local sports stations in on this, or where's our tech community on this? Why is it just this one? Why can't we snag Jerry Jones, if you are listening? Any sports team that's out there across the U.S. that's making $1 billion needs to get aboard on this and throw money that you guys are just arguing over at this, because the kids, the hobby is the people, and the people are the kids, and I think the kids are where everything needs to start at. They are the ones that are going to drive this next level. They're the ones that need to be helping innovate everything. And I guarantee you right now, one of the smartest kids in the United States is not even been found yet because he doesn't have a computer.
Yep.
I guarantee you right, or she,
or they.
excuse me, he, she, they, that person has not been found because of the lack of resources to them. And that needs to stop.
Yeah.
That needs to stop.
Okay, so you're about to get feisty here. I can feel your energy. But okay, so here's where I'm really stoked at. And by the way, The Mic is Listening is a very broad-based podcast, typically over business. And anyone, if you guys don't know, you guys know, it's about entrepreneurship. And so if anyone is looking to have an idea and they want to bounce that idea off, I'm happy. Reach out to me. I am part of a business organization called Global Leaders Organization, and it is a bunch of entrepreneurs that are members, founders of organizations, and we have access to capital. So if there are people at Fan Expo or anyone else that's listening on LinkedIn here or YouTube while I stream this all out, by all means, reach out to me because we're looking for folks that are innovative. We are looking for folks that actually have that next gen cool business idea. So guys, for those in the audience, thank you so much for applauding. Applaud. I'm joking. No, but I really do appreciate. I'd love more feedback on this, you guys, because I do talk to other entrepreneurs. For example, just a heads up, I'm actually working with another entrepreneur that is rolling out this virtual reality gaming center. Literally, it's 2 basketball-sized rooms, and you put on it's like, imagine laser tag, but VR.
Wow. Very cool. Yeah.
And then there's going to be a casting station over above, and it's going to have food and beverage for the people that maybe are waiting, or just people like me who love to eat and drink lots of fluids and stuff. But margaritas, right? But this is what I'm feeling the next generation is. So I'm actually really intrigued to see where Fan Expo. The fact they have a creator stage here for us like this is way huge. So huge shout out. I want to say thank you very much to Jonathan and Jonas over at Noonish Podcast Live. I want to say thank you, Brad, with Tech and Cars podcast. Madison with Map Esports Network. You guys, thank you so much for your time. And of course, shout out Shauna and Chuck, Fan Expo.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
And thank you, audience, for convincing yourself to come and sit. I told you those chairs would be comfortable, and I hope we humored you. And if you guys have any friends, please let us know. And I think that wraps it up for another episode of The Mic is Listening.